A lot of wrestlers have had the experience of training great, of having their skills, of being fast, of being strong, using their moves in practice. And then when they get on the mat for a match, for a tournament, something comes over them. Call it nervousness, lack of confidence, tentativeness. They change how they wrestle. They stop being aggressive. They stop using the moves that they know, that they've been showing their coach in practice. And they just kind of get defensive. Now, maybe that's an issue you're struggling with, and that's what's got you to watch this video. But it reminds me of a wrestler I work with, high school wrestler by the name of Tony. And Tony was great in practice. I mean, Tony would kick butt in practice. He was confident, he was aggressive, he would use all the moves he had. But then in tournaments, he would get so nervous and so distracted that he would get pinned by wrestlers that weren't nearly as good as him. And it was frustrating him and frustrating his coach. And Tony would tell me, it's like he didn't understand it. And he was oftentimes intimidated before he even got out on the mat. And the interesting thing for Tony, which I said to him, and he sort of acknowledged what's going on for him, is your matches, you win and lose them before the start. And it's not just because of your attitude, it's because of what you focus on. And what Tony was doing before he started his match, before he started the bout, was he was focusing on his opponent's record, his imagined coaching that this guy's got. You know, he was thinking about the kind of coaching he got. He was focusing on maybe the last time he wrestled this guy and didn't do well. He was even focusing on some of this kid's teammates and how good they were. But he would make himself so nervous before the start that he would end up getting tight, losing his breath in the process, and falling apart. So we really taught Tony how to control his pre-match focus, because a lot of wrestling really well is about staying calm under pressure. And a lot of staying calm under pressure gets determined by what you focus on pre-match. And we taught him how to use his pre-match ritual in a way that helps him control his focus. And then we taught him how to keep his focus in the right place when he was on the mat, and how to bounce back if his opponent scored on him. And the interesting thing is, Tony went on to bounce back from this problem, to get himself wrestling at a much higher level, and to get himself to the point where he was getting looked at by schools. So what I'm saying is very simple. You want to become a champion? You want to wrestle like a champion? You have to train like one. And training like one means not just training physically. You can't train physically and use and leave the most important part, the mental part, to chance. Okay, because in a tournament, when push comes to shove, it's the mental side of your game that's going to determine whether you do well or you don't do well. And if you're serious about becoming a champion, one thing you can do, of course, is what Tony did, which was to work with me via Skype or FaceTime. Another way to do that is to work with some of the training material that I've developed, the audios and the workbooks, to systematically work on developing the mental side of your sport. And I can promise you one thing. If you do that, if you put a small amount of time consistently into working on the mental side, then that will show up at tournament time when you're wrestling in those really big matches.